Kangaroo,
So they
I
did.
keep remembering. I probably shouldn't bring that too.
which was a little wild, and
How
bearded
big?
dragon.
Hey,
The kangaroo.
Ready?
It was in a little
Is it 5:30?
bag.
Oh, just
Ready to
so-
roll.
It was a baby. Yeah, that's what I said. They said, just make sure that the bag's
Good evening,
full."
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Berkeley County Board of Education meeting this Monday, July 15th, 2024. I declare there are a quorum of board members present and that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve this evening's agenda?
Made the motion.
So second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next agenda item is approval of the board meeting minutes from June 24th, 2024.
Made the motion.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Or is there any discussion or changes to the board meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The next agenda item is approval of the minutes from the public hearing on June 24th, 2024. Do we have a motion?
Made the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or changes to the public hearing meeting minutes from June 24th, 2024?
May I ask a question about those minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
The other consideration that we got the information on, will that still be a part of it? I didn't have a chance to look at the public hearing minutes. I want to know, will those still be contained in that hearing?
I think
Because some of that was carried over from the prior meeting, so I'm not sure if that's still in the minutes. The other consideration Ms. Littleton asked about, and Ms. Abramson came back with the information, will that still be a part of the minutes?
yeah, if it was discussed at the meeting,
Okay,
it'll be in there.
all right.
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next agenda item is to enter into executive session for the stated purpose of discussion of employment contracts and/or appointment of administrators as needed, 4 student attendance appeals, and 1 out-of-district appeal. Do we have a motion to enter into executive session for those stated purposes?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? We are now in executive session and will return as close to 5:45 as we can.
Y'all staying busy? What about you?
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to return to regular session.
So
Made a
moved,
motion.
Mr. Chair.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I will state for the record that no action was taken in executive session. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? We are now in regular session. If everyone could please join us in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our next agenda item is difference makers and special recognitions. We're going to be recognizing Philip Simmons High School spring sports, and I would at this time ask Katie Tanner to please come forward. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair McQuillan, members of the board, Superintendent Dixon, and everyone who has joined us this evening. We have truly enjoyed recognizing the achievements of students across our district the past few months. Tonight, we are celebrating the Iron Horses from Philip Simmons High for various spring sport recognitions. I do invite their coaches to also speak after being recognized about any information they feel is important to share about these students and their accomplishments this season. First up for the Iron Horses, Ashley Roush. She is our state champion girls pole vaulter. The Philip Simmons High School boys track team, there's approximately 30 student athletes and coaches here. They are the team state champions, and with us we have Bo Jimenez, Colton Kellerman, Alex Paradia, Ethan Sullivan, Makai Carson, Corey Steed, Luke Chambers. They are the state champs in boys 4x400 meter relay. Corey Steed was our all-state track boys 100 meter and boys 200 meter. Ethan Sullivan, all-state track boys 400 meter. Pierce Walker, boys 1600 meter and 3200 meter. Dario Porche, Corey Steed, Troy Stevenson, Marcellus Asbury, Ethan Sullivan, Bo Jimenez, all-state track boys 400 meter relay. Troy Stevenson, all-state track boys high jump and boys long jump. Bryce Ellington, all-state track boys triple jump. Haley Myers, all-state track girls 800 meter. And if any of them are in the crowd, y'all can come on up. We also have Ava Malik, all-state track girls 1600 meter and girls 3200 meter. Laura Perry, all-state track girls 3200 meter. Reagan Roush, all-state track girls pole vault. Haley Myers, Lila May, y'all stay up there, yep. Lila May, Matea Payer, Laura Perry, Ava Malik, Keziah Varner, and Emmy Wood were all-state track girls 3200 meter relay. Tyson Mac Davis, all-state soccer. Frank Januzzi, all-state soccer. Hudson Hatch, all-state boys golf. Hannah Patterson, all-state lacrosse. Riley Jenkins, North-South girls soccer. Emmy Rudd, U.S. lacrosse, all-academic American. Congratulations to the Iron Horses. And I know that their administrators and coaches are in attendance. If y'all could come up too. All right. Any of y'all want to speak? All right, well, congratulations to the Iron Horses. You had an impressive spring season, and that concludes our recognitions for this evening.
2 years.
I gotta drop about 15. Where you going when it cruises? Come back 10 more. We just this weekend.
What are you looking for?
I'm ready to go back. Cost a few bucks.
Not in there.
There's a lot of people even out there.
Oh, yeah. She's got it. Lacey got it.
Yes, all these people were outside.
Sally, I got one. Thank you, though. All right, we'll now move to our next agenda item, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. Dixon, you are recognized.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of our community and Board Chair McQuillan and our board members. We are 29 days away from welcoming our students back to Berkeley County School District for the 24-25 school year. My district and school teams are working hard to prepare the return of our students and our teachers in the coming weeks. We'll be celebrating the start of the new school year at our annual One Berkeley Goes Back to School Festival on August 3rd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This festival is hosted each year at the Moncks Corner Recreational Center. And we appreciate the ongoing relationship that we have with the town of Moncks Corner. I have a few congratulations, actually several congratulations that are in order for our schools who recently received the Palmetto Gold and Silver Award banners from the South Carolina State Department of Education. Daniel Island School Elementary and Philip Simmons Elementary received the Palmetto Gold Award for the 21-22 school year. Merrington Elementary, Merrington Middle of School of the Arts, Howe Hall, Ames, Daniel Island School, Berkeley Middle School, and Philip Simmons High have received the Palmetto Silver Award for the 21-22 school year. Daniel Island School has also received the gold in the 22-23 school year at the middle school level. Finally, Daniel Island Elementary School and Philip Simmons Elementary won the Palmetto Silver for the 22-23 school year. Congratulations to the staff and students of these schools. Maya McCall, a rising senior at Berkeley Middle College and Cane Bay High's Air Force JROTC program, was recently named the Region 3 and Sub-Region 3 Outstanding Cadet of the Year, as well as the Region 3 Overall Cadet of the Year. McCall's recognition was announced via a message sent out from Jason Joyce, Air Force JROTC Regional Director, representing the East Central Region and Sub-Region 3. Congratulations, Maya, on this achievement. A few more I need to share that we're excited to announce that 3 Berkeley County School District students are Scholastic Art and Writing Award medalists. Michaela Copus from Cane Bay High School won a gold medal for her sculpture, The Baby and Little Baby. Her piece will be exhibited at the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Ruth and Harold D. Uris Center for Education in New York City in late fall. Wow. From Goose Creek High, Connor Post and Erica Herrera won silver medals for their poetry. Post won 1 silver medal for her poem, The Woman in the Mirror, and Herrera won 2 silver medals, one for Survival Guide for a Yellow Stray, and the other for To Shed Skin. Congratulations to these students, and more information is available on our website. So congratulations. I don't know if I had the opportunity to announce, but we did at the National Beta Club Convention have several Beta Club winners from our district, and one being Berkeley High School taking home one of the national awards in Savannah, Georgia. So congratulations to the Berkeley High Stags. There are a few upcoming important dates to keep in mind for those who are enrolling in Berkeley County School District's adult education program. There are 2 facilities that offer adult and community education, and the Adult Learning Center and the Center for Academics and Innovation in Moncks Corner, and the Fishburne Educational Center in Hanahan. Only Fishburne offers English as second language classes. So registration for returning ESL classes, students will run July 16th through 18th at the Fishburne Learning Center in Hanahan, South Carolina. These will be the only days for returning students. No appointment is needed, but students should expect to stay for registration, as well as the Best Plus testing, which runs daily from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Best Plus testing for new ESL students will occur August 7th through 9th from 8 to 11 and from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. also at the Fishburne Learning Center. GED and high school diploma registration also starts this month. Returning student registration will occur at both sites July 22nd through the 24th, and please call between July 16th through 18th to schedule a registration appointment. If you can't reach anyone at Berkeley County School District's adult education, you can always reach out to the district and ask for someone in the Office of Inclusive Excellence and Student Support. New student registration will occur at both sites July 29th through the 31st, and please call between the 22nd and 24th to schedule this registration appointment. Check out Berkeley County School District's adult education registration and testing page for more information. Also, if you have not completed your returning student registration, I encourage you to get that completed as soon as possible so that our schools and transportation department can prepare for the return of more than 38,000 students in August. So please, it's an online process. It's a requirement for all returning students, a state requirement. So please get that done. You can also go out to the school if you need assistance with that. So as always, thank you once again for your commitment and your support. This concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Dixon. The next agenda item is citizens' comments. I will start by reading the citizens' comments rules. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take immediate action on public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting. Comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding complaints against employees other than district-level executives or references to students other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic should select one speaker. This evening we have a lot of comments, and so the comments will be limited to 1 minute per speaker, and the board chair reserves the right to allot additional time or halt public comments that do not adhere to these guidelines. But before I recognize the first speaker this evening, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I heard that there were some disruptions in the audience. And so I wanted to let you know now is the time for you as an audience member to come and speak to the board. I know that these are issues on both sides that people feel passionate about, and we appreciate your passion, and thank you for coming here to speak. But we'd ask that you please not disrupt the meeting. This is warning number one. If the meeting does have disruptions in it, I will call a 5-minute recess. Hopefully everybody can cool down, and then we can run an orderly meeting. If after the recess there are continued disruptions in the meeting, I've asked Mr. Knight and our safety and security team to remove disruptive folks from the meeting. So I want that to be very clear at the outset. We've got an orderly board meeting to run, and we appreciate the comments, and right now is the time we're entering into for public comments. So with that said, the first speaker this evening is Stanley Singleton with the topic of Cainhoy Elementary. Welcome, Mr. Singleton.
Good evening. Will all Cainhoy supporters please stand? Yeah, there's quite a contingent outside as well. Good evening, esteemed board members, Dr. Dixon, and district leaders, as well as my Kenoi community family. I'm Stanley Singleton, a proud alumni of Kenoi High School, but most importantly now, I am a confident parent of a student at Kenoi Elementary School. And like many parents, the reason why I'm so confident is because this historic community school has fantastic leadership, excellent faculty, supportive stakeholders, and test scores and other scores are starting to soar. Hugie as a community is growing, and growth brings opportunity. So imagine how wonderful it would be if we worked together and made Kenoi Elementary School a focal point of this growth. Everything is in place to make that happen. We have the leadership, we have the faculty, we have the supportive community, we have the facility. Because originally, Kenoi was a K-12 school. Because of that, Kenoi can house an additional 800 students, offer courses like band, art, athletic, dance. And as a result, Kenoi would be an excellent place for a magnet school. So we respectfully implore you to use your collective brilliance and let's work together to show what could happen if we all have one goal, student achievement. So I thank you for this time. I hope you heard me, and I pray that you were listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Singleton.
The next speaker this evening is John Jamrogwitz on process regarding J.K. Gordine. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. First, I apologize to the board and to my fellow citizens for my uncharacteristic lack of decorum at the last meeting. My concern tonight is the way the board's majority conducted its business regarding the closure of J.K. Gordine. I cannot offer a legal opinion. You may very well have acted within legal and procedural parameters, but as a voter observing your actions, I do not feel you acted within the spirit of anything having to do with transparency, respect, or due process. That this has become a theme with a majority that came to power pledging transparency is beyond ironic. In your first meeting following your election, you fired the superintendent and legal counsel. Without a search process, you hired a new superintendent. Without competitive bids, you hired a new legal counsel. When confronted with pressures about books, you tossed aside your own procedures and acted in an ad hoc manner. It has been said that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I truly hope this is not what we are witnessing during your tenure, but I fear that is not the case.
The next speaker this evening, it's listed as Ann on academic progress and what closing means for our children. The speaker is Ann and academic progress and what closing means for our children.
Good evening. As all of y'all know, I've been in your position, and you have to make some really tough decisions sometimes. And I'm here to tell you, the decision you made about JK was the right decision, and I applaud you for that. Specifically because I have been looking at the South Carolina reports, and the report cards are indicating that JK has fallen behind. They are not progressing. The children there are not progressing. They have a score of 23, which is below average, and St. Stephen's has a score of 50. So you're going to be moving children into a school that is performing a lot better. And I have one question for one of your board members. Ms. Bradley, where do your grandkids go to school, elementary school? I have heard that they go to the Miracle Academy and not JK. Thank you.
May I answer her question?
Don't take.
Okay.
The next speaker this evening is Kathleen Lowe, J.K. Gordine, Teacher Contracts and Workforce Concerns.
As Ms. Lowe comes forth, one of the rules is that I can see you after the meeting. So Ms. Conder, please see me in the hall after the meeting.
Welcome, Ms. Lowe.
I'm Kat Lowe. I'm the BCEA president, and I'm here speaking for the teachers and staff of J.K. Gordine and the teachers and staff of Berkeley County School District. Trust is not a game. The decision of 4 members to immediately shutter J.K. Gordine looks all like gamemanship, and you might have the ability to do it. You can do it, but should you do it? And I'm going to tell you, you took some cheap shots at teachers when you did it. Not understanding that those folks lost their jobs the second you made that decision makes you understand that you don't know the job of a teacher, because they might be employed by the district, but our jobs are with our schools, and we love those schools, and we work for those kids, and we work for those parents. Then you segregated them at the listening session, not letting them have the supports they needed and wanted so that they could feel heard. I have the notes from that meeting. They are not happy about this at all. I will be happy to share that information with you after the meeting. I'll be here. The timeline you have is undoable. There is no timeline that says that the teachers can get this done in less than 29 days. They're not even under contract right now. You're only compensating them 5 days to merge 2 schools? If it was a hurricane, if it was something that only God could have happen, that would be understandable. We'd all come together and we would make this work. But you're forcing a crisis on people that work for you. We are about attracting and retaining the very best. You did the right thing by giving us raises, but you're doing the wrong thing by forcing them to do this. We ask that you extend to 2025, next school year. Let them merge, work properly. Let them have this year to make a real plan so the kids get a great first day of school. We want that. You want that. It won't be this first day, though. And you've set the timeline for failure. Thank you.
Next speaker this evening is Cynthia, New Schools Arriving in the Community.
Greetings from the wonderful people of Hughie, South Carolina. I want to just piggyback on what a lot of the other presenters have said about the fact that we want transparency. And recently I came across a map which shows the new development on Cainhoy Road and Clements Ferry Road. The development is called Point Hope. With this development, it shows 3 new schools. My question is, has this already been approved by Berkeley County? And if it has been approved, what does that mean for Cainhoy? Thank you.
The next speaker this evening is a former school board member and Reverend Julius Barnes to speak on the J.K. Gordine merger. Welcome, Mr. Barnes. Good to see you, sir.
Good evening.
To the board chair, members of the board, and to Superintendent. This isn't working too well for me.
There you go.
When you're short, you have that kind of problem. I want to talk in relation to J.K. School, and I only have a minute or so. On the last board meeting, when the amendment was made to merge the school, I I noticed that our policy here in our school board is that things are on the agenda. The amendment for merging JK at school was not on any agenda. It was not on the agenda for the finance meeting. It was not on the agenda for the committee meeting. It was not on the agenda for the public hearing meeting that you had, and neither was it on the agenda for the regular meeting. So I feel that you are breaking your own policy, because your policy is that only those items that's on your agenda would be discussed and voted on at your meeting. The other thing is the amended budget that you approve. Now, you had a public hearing prior to the budget hearing, prior to the budget, 2024. But when you amend the budget, then I believe that there should have been a public hearing on the amended budget so that the public will have an opportunity to have a say. That was not done. So I believe that you are not only in violation of your own policy, but you may be in violation of state law by not having a public hearing prior to the approval of the budget that was amended. So I ask tonight that you consider rescinding the amendment to the budget and delaying the merging of JK School. Thank you.
The next speaker this evening is Roderick Sumter concerning JK School. Welcome, Mr. Sumter.
Say good evening to the board chair and to the board members. Bishop Sumter here, speaking for the concern of JK Goodine School. My concern tonight is the children being moved sudden with no knowledge to the parents, the principal, nor the faculty. I feel that there should have been a meeting with the taxpayer citizen of that area of this close prior to the board's decision. We as adults don't like sudden change. So how do you board members think our children feel about this without a warning? I feel that our children should have time to prepare for a move and a change, time to think and get them prepared for a new school change than to drop this on the children all of a sudden. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker this evening is Joe Jefferson, funding for J.K. Gordine Elementary School. Welcome, Representative Jefferson.
First of all, good evening to all of you. Chairman of the board, Macmillan, other members, superintendent, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I basically have two questions. The first one is, when you thought about making that decision the other day, did you consult with anybody in the community? I happen to live in Pineville, maybe a mile from J.K. Gordine Elementary School. The other concern I have is, your reason for closing down JK is based on the fact that you were going to save $1.5 million. Well, I happen to know from the General Assembly we're about to send you $214 million to Berkeley alone. Now, last year, we sent you $600 million from the state, the county, and the federal. So money should not be a problem. As of several Pineville community members, we have not been notified. The proposed motion to merge J.K. Gordine and St. Stephen Elementary School, I bring to your attention the Freedom of Information Act as Reverend Bond alluded to a minute ago, which stipulates that before a motion or an amendment is made to close a community school, the community members must be given at least 24 hours notice. This was not done. There was never such a meeting held within the community. I'm also requesting that a motion be made by one of the board members here this evening to rescind the previous motion or amendment to merge JK with St. Stephen until a meeting with the community is held and citizens be notified of such meetings. Now, I know that the board has full autonomy to do what it wants to do, but the decent thing to do for the Pineville and the surrounding communities is to let others know what your plans are, especially as we're about to celebrate the 100th year of J.K. Goodine Elementary School's existence. Please allow us that opportunity. Thank you very much.
The next speaker this evening is Randy Smalls on the topic of merge. Welcome, Mr. Smalls.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Randy Smalls, and tonight I stand on behalf of the community, my community, the Pineville, South Carolina community, and a proud alumni of the great J.K. Goodine Elementary School. We, the community, are asking that the board reconsider their decision on merging St. Stephen and J.K. Elementary until the 25-26 school year. Granting this decision give parents, grandparents, the community, and the staff of J.K. 1 year to figure out their next move. With the merge taking place in a little over a month, that's not enough time for the children, parents, the community to grasp the change so quickly. As tax-paying citizens, we have the right to voice our opinions and concerns regarding this matter. As board members, it's your responsibility to do what's right concerning the kids and the community in which you serve. You're not responsible for personal agendas or for a set group of people. We stand together as one Pineville, and we hope that you hear our cry. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker this evening is Ronald Casey, closure of school. Welcome, Mr. Casey.
Good evening to the board. My concern I pray to you all that you will rethink the decision that you have made of closing a school 100 years old. I pray that you will rethink it, because that school means so much to the community. I am a grad from J.K. Elementary School. That school means so much to me and all of the community. Please, board, please rethink your decision that you all have already made. Be fair to the children, to the community, to the parents. Y'all not being fair to them at all. It's not how you feel that makes it work. It's what is done right. And the right thing is to keep J.K. Elementary School open for another year. Amen.
The next speaker this evening is Rebecca Woodard, closure impact on children. Welcome, Ms. Woodard.
Good evening. I'm Becca, and thanks for the opportunity to speak. I'm a parent of 2 children that go to J.K. Goodine, and they've done nothing but excel, and all of the students have done nothing but excel, no matter what the statistics show. I'd like you to imagine a school that has stood for just a year short of a century, a place where generations have learned, grown, and formed lifelong bonds. A school that is deeply rooted and a huge part of history, not just for South Carolina, but for the entire nation. A school that has fostered the education of thousands of children who have gone on to do amazing things. JK is a pillar of rural history that cannot be erased. Closing such a school without involving the community can have a profound negative effect on the children. First, it disrupts their sense of stability and continuity. Schools are not just buildings. They're safe havens where children feel secure and supported. Without the community input, this decision overlooked the emotional and psychological impacts on the students. Additionally, the community's rich history and traditions integral to the school's identity are going to be lost. This disconnect will lead to a sense of loss and disorientation for all children, not just the children at JK, the children at St. Stephen's Elementary as well. Moreover, the lack of community involvement can result in decisions that do not consider the unique needs and circumstances of the children, leading into inadequate alternatives, the merger. In essence, closing this historic school without community input disregards the best interests of the children, stripping them of their sense of belonging and security. The lack of transparency that has been shown by the board leaves little faith that you guys have the future and the safety of the children in mind. I, as a parent, no longer feel comfortable trusting the board to make decisions for mine or anyone else's children. The disrespect to parents and staff and children that has been shown is deplorable. How are we supposed to trust any further decisions when we, the community, was very obviously not considered in this decision? It's unfair to everyone involved. And the decision really needs to at least be postponed until next school year to give everyone, the students, the parents, and especially the staff, a year to have adequate planning and organization time. Thank you.
The next speaker this evening is Noreen for my grandchildren at JK Gordine. Welcome.
Good evening, board members and community members and all here in attendance. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am a grandmother of 2 grandchildren that attend JK Gordine. Your quick decision to close a school will affect them as well as other children that attend JK Gordine. With your quick decision leads to serious question the thoughts of how this would affect the students, if not only JK, but also St. Stephen. I know that some want the merger to happen, and they say that the children at St. Stephen are excelling far above the children at JK Gordine. But how are those children going to be affected when you add almost 300 more children to that school? It's not going to go well. The more crowded the school is, the less one-on-one each child gets. I think that the majority of the community have strong concerns of what decisions, if any, you had as to how this would affect, sorry, just a second. But of St. Stephen, and I think that, and the majority of the community think and have strong concerns of what decisions, if any, you had as to how this would affect all the students involved. It also begs into question, what studies have you done to see how academically and socially it would affect them, the students? It is clear that you did not do your due diligence in any area of this decision. If you had, you would know how the children at JK Gordine are thriving and how crowding classrooms hurts the students' learning. I strongly recommend that you postpone the vote and give time to do due diligence for the effect of it would have on the children. And the last thing I have to say, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you work for us. These are our children. They're not your children. You're not going to be the parent that has to sit with them, and because they've fallen behind because there's too many kids in the classroom, for the one teacher and maybe a teacher's helper to help these students. You're not going to be the parent that has to sit and worry. You think that the scores are low now? Wait until they all get together. The more crowded the classroom, the less time a teacher has to spend with those children one-on-one. Scores will go down, and children's education will be hurt, and parents are going to suffer along with their children in trying to figure out how to get tutoring. Are you going to supply that tutoring for those children that fall behind in their test scores? Please reconsider your decision and do more due diligence and find out how this will affect the students and the community of the school. Thank you.
The next speaker this evening is Roger Rimbert, concern on closing of JK. Welcome, Mr. Rimbert.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Pastor Rimbert, and I have a church in the community. Not only that, I was born and raised in the community. I went to J.K. Goodine and everything. And also, I have grandkids in the community. Last year, they went to St. Stephen Elementary. And did you consider when parents dropped the kids off, the headache there? It was difficult dropping those kids off there. Now, when you take JK and bring them to St. Stephen Elementary, have we considered how we're going to do that with Russellville Road and the traffic there? It's going to be a problem. And I'm urging the board, one more year so we can figure that traffic out. So we can figure out how we're going to deal with our grandkids and the kids that we've got to drop off because the parents work 2 jobs. And as grandparents, we have to fill in for them. And so when you make a decision, you have to make a decision considering how these kids are going to get to school. Yes, the bus is okay. What happened when the bus break down? I used to work for I used to drive the school bus. The bus do break down. Then parents, we got to figure out how to get our kids to school. But you have to give us time to figure this out. We have to put other family members, and around us so we can help with these kids. Not only that, we have kids in our community that parents don't have transportation. They don't have the money and things like that. And as a church community, we come together, we have to figure that out for them, and we need time. We need time, and we're urging the board to give us that time so we can prepare our loved ones and our family and our community for this move.
Thank you. The next speaker is Reverend Curtis Dingle against the closing of J.K. Gourdine Elementary School. Welcome, Reverend Dingle.
Thank you. Good evening. I used to stand behind a podium when I stand up here, but I don't have no podium today, so I'll use this as my podium, all right? First, I give honor to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and to the Berkeley County School Board and to the Superintendent Dixon, amen, to Mr. Priolo and Dr. Graham, and to all the concerned parents. We are the clergymen of the surrounding area. We are here to voice our opinion against the closing down of J.K. Gourdine Elementary School. I, too, was a student at J.K. Gourdine Elementary School, and that's memory that goes back for a long time ago. So, to close it down, all that will be erased. So now, some may say it's a bad deal. It's already done. Now, it may be already done, but you can redo it because you are the board. Amen. So therefore, it's going to be problem getting the children up early in the morning, problem getting the children to school, problem the parents making reconsideration, going to get the children to school and back to going to work, problem with the children getting up early. And it's going to be a problem because the school will be overcrowded. And our children will be able to get the right education, the right teaching. So with the rest, I urge you to earnestly reconsider this. And if you can rescind the motion that was made in closing out JK School, I want you to know it'll be a betterment. Other than that, it's going to be a problem. It'll be problem after problem that we can't solve. So I ask you to reconsider your decision. If you reconsider the decision at least another year, it'll be a betterment for us. Thank you so much.
Next speaker this evening is Tori Liferidge on administration failures. help.
Good evening. I too strongly urge this board to rescind the decision and at least grant a delay for a year for proper planning for this and not continue the legacy of loathsome actions that's been taken by this majority board, like having a twice sworn in elected official as a board chair, retaliated against key employees hired by or who supported Deion Jackson, broke SC state ordinance in the process of firing Deion Jackson, held secret meetings without the full board, illegally changed a bond referendum item, and dishonored the people's constitutionally protected vote, building a school where it makes no logistical sense because a developer divided his parcel and sold the land to the district knowing that a school is the only building that can mandate water be brought to it and said developer would benefit, made a decision to close a rural community school as an amendment to a budget meeting agenda, and held a sham of a community meeting and fled and refused to actually speak to the community. And for your complicity in this, Dr. Dixon, I just have one question. What is the going rate for souls these days?
Okay.
The next speaker this evening is Yvette Campbell, School Grants. Yvette Campbell, School Grants. How do you say it? All right, we're going to skip Ms. Campbell. We can come back. We've got Hubert Montgomery. Oh, sorry about that. Welcome, Ms. Campbell. Nope. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if I can follow Pastor Lightridge. We set the bar kind of high. Thank you for the opportunity. We need technology. The Kanhoy community, pardon me, the Kanhoy community met with Dr. Dixon on June 22nd, 2023. That was well over a year ago, and his cabinet to discuss our concerns and visions for the Kanhoy Elementary School. A follow-up meeting was held August 9th, 2023, with Dr. Middleton and the community to discuss a grant that Dr. Middleton said that the school received along with Cross and Sedfield schools. We talked about how the grant could be used to create an art magnet, perhaps, or add additional staff and increasing enrollment at Kanhoy with the impeding growth in the area. Anybody been down Kanhoy Road and the rest? You've seen all of those developments. Dr. Middleton shared with us next steps, which was to create a task force to work on the grant. Since the meeting on August 9th, 2023, several members from the community, including myself, have tried to contact Dr. Middleton so that we can move forward with the planning of the grant. We and some more, the concerned members of this community, would like to meet with Dr. Middleton regarding this grant, supposed grant. If this money is available, we would like to have a say regarding what we feel is best for the school and the community in Kanhoy. So that is the question. Can we meet with the elusive Dr. Middleton? Thank you.
The next speaker this evening is Hubert Montgomery, Distribution of Resources. Welcome, Mr. Montgomery.
Thank you. Good evening,
Good evening.
to all of you. I want to address something that Mr. Jefferson said, but even more so to the young lady that made the comment about she support the idea of closing JK because of scores. Well, the question would be, a better question I would say, the resources thereof that Mr. Jefferson talked about, where were they distributed to? Because it appears to me that the distribution of these funds is not going where it's needed. The teacher herself said it, that they are great teachers, you gave them a raise. Yes, but is that school getting the same resources that other schools are getting? Because if I'm looking at all the schools in the district, there are not many schools that are still standing longer than JK. You have developed Westville, which have two, a primary and an elementary. You have Berkeley that has a high school, an intermediate, and a Berkeley college. So help me understand, where are the resources going that will allow JK to be productive? Because based on what I understand and the money that has been given to South Carolina and this district, where is it at? Because the young lady mentioned that the scores have dropped. Why? It's not because of the kids, it's because the teachers are not getting the things that they need to bring the kids up to par. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Next speaker this evening is Victoria Cowart on school shutdown. This side over here.
Thank you. Chair McQuillan, Dr. Dixon, board members and audience, thank you. Equity is a word I believe in. It means fairness. And school outside of a gated community, if you had 100 students outside of a gated community in a school, while money was being spent inefficiently because families wanted the school in that location, would that be fair? Would that be equitable? What if the inefficient spending of that school and those dollars for those students rose to a level of more than $1.5 million, and those monies were being withheld from rural students? Would that be fair? I think this evening I want to say thank you to you all, to the passions in the audience, to the people who serve in the audience, but I want to ask you to please be the good stewards of the funds and the best folks to care for the students. And there are rural students who could use those additional dollars. And that's what I want to speak on behalf of, because every child in our county should have an amazing educational experience. And those dollars matter to those rural students. Thank you.
Ebel Copian, J.K. Gordine Elementary School closure. E-B-E-L-E. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Abella Compion. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And we weren't able to hear all the other testimonies, but I just want to say that, unfortunately, with what's happening to this school, the low proficiency rate, for example, math is 30 to 39%. Reading is at the bottom 50. I think we have to take into account our moral duty to these kids, because they're not being prepared for college, their scores, based on their scores, and they're certainly not being prepared for the real world. And so one thing I would like to advocate is, and maybe some people in this room have already done so, is who to hold accountable for how these scores ended up being today, because this didn't happen overnight. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next Appreciate everyone for their comments this evening. The next agenda item is any action as required from executive session. We will first start with the student attendance appeals. Do we have a motion in the matter of student number 1?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
in reference to student number 1, I make a motion that we deny the appeal of student number 1.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Do we have a motion in the matter of student number 2?
Come on, Mr. Ramsey.
Mr. Chair, in the matter of student number 2, I move that we deny the appeal.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to deny the attendance appeal of student number 2. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
All right, and then we will take up students number 3 and 4 together. Do we have a motion in the matter of students number 3 and 4?
Mr. Chair, in the matters of students number 3 and 4, I move that we deny the appeal.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to deny the appeals of students number 3 and 4. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Do we have a motion in the out-of-district appeal for student number 1?
Mr. Chair, I move that we grant the out-of-district appeal of student number 1 based on payment of tuition in the amount of $6,205.12.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. We'll now move to motions out of executive session. Mr. Baker, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the personnel recommendations of the administration as discussed in executive session for the current school year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Ms. Walford.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Benita Hughes as the coordinator for alternative certification with a contract to begin July 16th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations, Ms. Hughes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Dr. Jem Massey as the coordinator of academics, ELA, with a contract to begin July 16, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations, Ms. Massey.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mrs. Crystal Stevens as the assistant principal at the Carolyn Lewis School with a contract to begin July 16, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations, Ms. Stevens.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Alana Nixon as the assistant principal at Hanahan Elementary School with a contract to begin July the 17th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations, Ms. Nixon.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Michael Jenkins as the assistant principal at Hanahan High School with a contract to begin July the 17th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations, Ms. Jenkins. He could not be with us this evening. I forgot these in the last one as well.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name James Caraway as the assistant principal at H.E. Bonner Elementary School with a contract to begin July 17th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations again. All right, we will now recess for committee meetings. We've got a quorum of committee members present for each committee, and we will start with the Committee on Academics and Innovation. Chair Littleton, you're recognized.
I'm calling the Committee on Academics and Innovation to order. I declare there's a quorum of committee members present, and note the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do you have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes 2-0. The only item on the agenda is the Head Start Budget Expenditure Report for May 2024, Head Start Credit Report for May 2024, and prospective new hires. It's the pleasure of the committee.
Move to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes 2-0. This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Passes 2-0.
Yes, if you were a new hire too and want to scoot or any student recognitions, you are welcome to pop up and leave too. Don't feel like you got to stay. He liked it. He liked it. My man.
He's been sitting still a long time.
I got that kid's vote.
With the orange in front. He's with the Jehovah's Witness. She's a principal in medicine. See him? You know him?
Energy.
I know. I figured that.
We got to go back to the regular board meeting. What is hot in this room? Anybody want water or anything? Everybody good?
No water. If it's water, might not be.
It's crazy. That much body heat.
He just had to text me, he said, I didn't say something like that. You haven't been doing that. I said, I don't think I'm going to do that tonight. You
Good.
live. I've been cool in that room. But I'm saying,
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know Matt was going to call it work.
People.
That's how he rolls, baby.
More people coming in.
Ooh. Intermission.
It's toasty up in this mo.
A little warm.
Mucho caliente.
Can you imagine how warm they were sitting out there?
Yeah, that lobby had a couple people in it.
You got to do what you got to do. You're committed.
So how much do you have in numbers now? What is the ratio of kids to teachers.
Oh, they did a little bit the last meeting.
But they did.
Guidance counselor, he was 6 kids for one guidance counselor's team. Karen said to 750 in elementary schools.
See, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Because they're saying you're not spending the money.
Whenever you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Take your time. Let everybody get seated. Buchholz said he was going to watch. But I think he might have left.
Quick prayer.
I am calling the Committee on Finance and Human Resources to order. I declare there is a quorum of committee members present and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. First, I would ask for unanimous consent to remove item 2J from tonight's committee hearing. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second? Any discussion?
Yes, discussion. Why are we removing it?
Ma'am?
Why are we removing it?
Had a couple people reach out to some of the school board members and took issue with it. And so thought it made sense to go ahead and push it back to administration and see if they would take another look at it.
Okay.
Seemed reasonable. So there's a couple of educators actually, so I think they had some good points on some issues that they had with it. So I was like, well, instead of just going ahead and bringing it to committee, we'd have district look at it, and then if they want to bring it back, they can bring it back.
Okay.
All right. All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion is approved. We will now go to our first agenda item, is out-of-state travel. Ms. Marcy Aberson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Committee Chairman Ramsey, Board Chairman McQuinlan, Dr. Dixon, and board members. Tonight, we are asking for approval of out-of-state travel as presented.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve out-of-state travel as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion is approved. The second agenda item is FY 24-25 Minority Business Plan. Ms. Aberson, you're recognized again.
Thank you. As required by our procurement code, we update our minority business plan annually. The only changes made to this plan is the fiscal year was changed to 24-25, and due to personnel changes, we changed the MBE liaison contact information.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 24-25 Minority Business Plan as
Second.
presented by administration.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion is approved. Thank you, Ms. Aberson.
Thank you.
The third agenda item is 2024-2025 salary book draft. Ms. Amy Fulmer, you are recognized.
Good evening, Chair McWillan, Committee Chair Ramsey, Superintendent Dixon, and board members. Administration is asking for approval of the draft salary book for the 24-25 school year. Additional updates since I brought the salary book in April of 2024 include academic supplements, visual and performing arts supplements, update for consistency of language under the contract information section, hourly rates updated by $5, rural mileage stipend updated in each area by $500. Teacher salary scale was updated to reflect $5,691 in each cell and a 1% increase for all non-teaching scales.
Mr.
What
Chair,
is the pleasure of the committee?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the 2024-2025 salary book as presented.
Do we have a second? I'll make the second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion is approved. The fourth agenda item is policy EBCA, vandalism, first reading. Ms. Fulmer, you are recognized again.
Administration is asking for first reading approval of EBCA vandalism. This policy was last revived in January of 2011. The revised policy now references the correct Student Behavior Code Administrative Rule JICDAR.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve policy EBCA, vandalism, first reading.
Second, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion?
I have a question, if you don't
Yes.
mind.
Go ahead, Ms. Bradley.
Do all our schools have security cameras?
Yes,
They all
schools have
work,
cameras.
and they all are working. What about on the football fields and those outer areas? Are they there as well?
Ms. Triggers?
We have some in those locations. We're working on adding additional ones. It's, just we have for the distance and for some of the football fields, we have to like 5 a day. We're working on that.
Okay,
We've got about 5,000 security cameras.
okay, all right. Okay.
All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion is approved. Our fifth agenda item is policy JCAB, searches, student interrogatories, and arrests. First reading. Ms. Fulmer, you are recognized again.
Administration is asking for first reading approval of JCAB. This policy was last revised in February of 2004. The revised policy now references the correct Student Behavior Code, JICDA.
Pleasure to committee.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve policy JCAB, searches, student oh, God.
I can't say it.
Interrogatories.
And arrests, first reading. And I knew how to say it, and I just still screwed it up.
We'll say, yeah.
First reading, JCAB.
All right. We have a motion, I second. Any discussion? All in
that
favor
word?
of this motion, respond by saying aye.
So we do have a discussion.
What's that word you all are using?
Interrogations.
Interrogatories.
So is
Okay,
it-
is that the wording you're going to use? Not interrogations, interrogatories.
That's how
My
it's,
speech
that's how it's
teacher
worded on the
was
agenda.
at St. Stephen's Elementary, and she did a really fine job. She taught me how to, instead of saying thumb, not to say thumb. But unfortunately, for the life of me, I have trouble pronouncing that word.
There was
That
an
is a
issue.
shortfall
It
on
should be
my behalf.
excuse me.
Student interrogation, so is it that parents are able to come in before students are interrogated? Because we've had incidents to whereas there was an interrogation and parents knew after. That was an issue that several parents came and brought to the board.
Dr. Dixon?
What's the code?
I know what we do in the elementary school. We always call the parent.
But in middle and high school, it's sometimes different. You have to do the interrogation prior to a parent being called.
What is it?
Especially not in middle school.
If a student has a weapon, you do the interrogation prior to, if there's threat, you do an interrogation.
There was an issue that they had at Philip Simmons High School, I remember, and the mother came and spoke, and there was an interrogation prior to informing the parent, and I don't believe it was weapons related.
That probably was at the middle school, I think it was, and it was
I
a
believe
phone
it's-
issue, but it was probably, I think I know what you're talking about, a separate issue.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
The motion approved by a vote of 2-1. Our sixth agenda item is policy JCD, student conduct, first reading. Ms. Fulmer, you are recognized again.
Administration is asking for first reading approval of JCD, student conduct. This policy was last revised in November 1993. The revised policy now references the correct Student Behavior Code Administrative Rule, JICDAR.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve policy JCD, student conduct, first reading.
We have a motion. I'll make the second. Any discussion?
I have one always.
Go ahead, Ms. Bradley.
How how is this different from the individual schools? Because at Cross, just like every other high school, we get a discipline manual, code of conduct that we have to sign. Are those included? Is it a separate set of rules and regulations at the school versus the district? Are they all encompassing of each one?
The schools base their rules off of our policy.
And
So-
sometimes they're in conflict with each other. I think that's what we're having here now. If the rules are in conflict with each other, then there is a problem. There is space for error. Is there any way, before the second reading, you can ask the principals for the code of conduct at the school to compare to the district to make sure they do coincide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion passed. The seventh agenda item is policy JCDAA, use of tobacco, first reading. Ms. Fulmer, you're recognized again.
Administration is asking for first reading approval of JCDAA, use of tobacco. This policy was last revised in February of 2014. The revised policy now references the correct Student Behavior Code, Administrative Rule JICDAR.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve policy JCDAA, use of tobacco, first reading as presented.
Second, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passed. The eighth agenda item is policy JDD, student suspensions, first reading. Ms. Fulmer, you are recognized again.
Administration is asking for first reading approval of JDD, student suspensions. The policy was last updated in January 2010. The revision included Student Behavior Code JICDA and Administrative Rule JICDAR.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve policy JDD, student suspensions, first reading as presented.
Second, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passed. The ninth agenda item is policy JDE, student expulsions, first reading. Ms. Fulmer, you are recognized again.
Administration is requesting your approval for the first reading of the revised JDE student expulsion policy. The policy was last revised in December 2017 and has undergone several significant revisions. The first one is to update the policy to include references to the Student Behavior Code JICDA and Administrative Rule JICDAR to ensure comprehensive coverage of student conduct expectations. The second addition is the Chief Pupil Service Officer is now authorized to review expulsion cases. In certain circumstances, the Chief Pupil Services Officer can place a student on district-wide probation in lieu of proceeding with a formal expulsion hearing. The change aims to provide a more flexible and responsive approach to student discipline. The third addition, in accordance with the new state law, the policy has been updated to mandate that written notification to a student being recommended for expulsion must explicitly state the student's right to have legal counsel present at the hearing. This ensures that the students and the families are fully informed of their legal rights during the expulsion process.
What is the pleasure of the committee?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve policy JDE, student expulsions, first reading.
Second, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passed. Thank you, Ms. Fulmer. All right, our next agenda item was requested. We had, I believe, 3 board members wanted to put this on the committee as an action item. And so, as an action item, what we need is a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Okay.
I'm not on
Is
your
it the committee or, you stated that Ms. Bradley was recognized?
Yeah, this is the request for board members to postpone the J.K. Gordon Elementary and St. Stephen's School merger.
We are making a motion to bring before the committee to request of the postponement of J.K. Goodine Elementary School and St. Stephen's Elementary School merger, at least until the 25-26 school year.
Do we have a second from the committee? Hearing no second, we will move on. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and return to regular session.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
The vote is approved by a vote of 2 to 1. We are now adjourned.
We didn't have a discussion. You didn't call for a discussion. Is it that?
Got to have a second. In order to BA Board Policy Rules, which follows Robert's Rules of Order, you got to have a second when it comes to committee as an action item.
Parliamentarian, since this is committee.
That meeting has adjourned. The next items on the agenda are reports from standing committees. First, a report from the Committee on Academics and Innovation. Chair Kathy Littleton.
Chairman, the Committee on Academics and Innovation met earlier this evening, and on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the Head Start Budget Expenditure Report for May 2024, Head Start Credit Report for May 2024, and prospective new hires.
We have a recommendation from committee, so no second is required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Littleton. The next is a Committee on Finance and Human Resources. Chairman Michael Ramsey, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, the Committee on Finance and Human Resources met earlier this evening, and on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the out-of-state travel as presented by administration.
We have a recommendation from committee, so no second is required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the FY 24-25 Minority Business Plan as presented.
We have a recommendation from committee, so no second is required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the 2024-2025 salary book draft as presented.
We have a recommendation from committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the first reading of policy EBCA, vandalism, as presented by administration.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the first reading of policy JCAB, searches, student
Interrogatories.
categories, and arrests as presented by administration.
It should read interrogation, right? Yeah. All right, we have a recommendation from committee. No seconds required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Sorry. Cut you off.
Get the nays.
Can you raise your hand if you are a nay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Motion fails for deadlock. We'll put that back on at the next meeting.
What did you get? 4.
4-4.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the first reading of policy JCD, student conduct, as presented by administration.
Pause real quick. Lacey, did you get the ayes and nays on that last one? You did? Okay. All right. We got a recommendation from committee. No seconds required. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the first reading of policy JCDAA, use of tobacco, as presented by administration.
We have a recommendation from committee. No seconds required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the first reading of policy JDD, student suspensions, as presented by administration.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Also on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the first reading of policy JDE, student expulsions, as presented by administration.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is board chair update. I do not have any updates this evening, and so at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are now
Nay.
adjourned. Thank you for attending.
They're not doing the flag. I'm not sure. Just remember, this is going to come back up again.